started.
Oscar, 1947, from Peru. Okay, so he starts out with D4. I think I haven't played a Nimzo in a while. Let's see if I can get there. No, this is not going to be a Nimzo. This is some kind of what is this? This is a London system, I guess, with the early bishop f4. I don't have a standard line I play against this. Let's try something like this, d6 to reduce the pressure along this diagonal. Maybe g6, try and support the idea of playing e5 at some point. So bishop to g7, he develops his knight. And castle. Now I can always play this knight to h5 move to harass that bishop, but it'll just go back to this nice square here. So let's just develop my pieces. Well, maybe here, knight h5 followed by e5, because after e5 takes, and then the knight and the bishop are defending it, and the knight and the bishop are attacking it, so it's supported there. Although there's always this trick, so if I play knight h5 and he retreats, then I play e5, he takes, I take, and then he plays something like g4 hitting my knight, and I have to come back here and cover up the bishop, and then he can take back this pawn and win it. So let's play one more move of defense or preparation, which is to defend it with an extra piece. So I'll have the knight and the rook on it, even if this guy has to move. So I can play e5 right now, right? Because pawn takes, and I have two pieces supporting it, and his two pieces are attacking it, and one of them will have to retreat. Now if he takes, I will open up this line for his queen. Okay, so far so good. I wonder if I could just play c3, c6, d5, e4. I can't move this knight or this rook because I need him to defend that pawn. I could go ahead and push this pawn with tempo, but I can't push this pawn without help, so let's try c6. And if I open up this line for his dark squared bishop, that's an advantage to him. But I get a lot of space in the center, and maybe I can counter his bishop in some way. And he pushes ahead with d5 just to stop that. So good idea, probably. Now, if I take, he can take back with the knight. If I do nothing and he takes and I take, then this pawn is hanging. So I probably need to do something. Let's push this pawn first. Oh, this is still hanging. That's unfortunate. So he's going to have to do something with his knight. I guess that's the point. And then I'll have to worry about this pawn. But I forgot the bishop was attacking it. Maybe knight here. Except that would block the defense of that pawn with my rook. It's knight to that square or knight to here, hitting the bishop. Maybe that's the way to play it. This rook and this knight are needed to defend the pawn. My advanced pawn on e4. But now this knight is free to move. And after takes, this would be hanging, so I have to do something about that. But knight to b6 there hits his bishop, which is unprotected, so it buys me one move, and then maybe I could push something. Oh, that's interesting. He did not. I thought maybe he would go to d2, attacking that pawn. Have two pieces on it. So, do I still want to play knight b6? That's the question. I need to defend this guy. And putting the knight on b6 at least allows the queen to defend there. And then after that, I have to decide if I want to take that pawn or push. Just leave it there. So if he retreats his bishop to b3, yeah, logical. So takes, knight takes, bishop takes, knight takes, queen takes. Yeah, he has more force on there than I do. This is not loose right now, but if he takes, then it'll be loose. He can take it with the queen. So let's play there. That way he can't take. And this has got one attacker currently. He can bring the knight here as a second attacker. I could push on with my pawn and try and trap his bishop. Yeah, that is a threat here. Pawn to c4, his bishop has to move to a4, and the knight is defending it there. But if he were to move his knight to attack this pawn, the knight wouldn't be defending it. So that looks like that would have been safe. Okay, so he's got a hiding hole for his bishop now. So let's stop the knight from coming to b5. I don't want him attacking this pawn. I guess now what I could do is I could do knight. No, I can't. I still can't play that because of the bishop. That bishop is pretty annoying. Maybe I should play knight h5 and bishop to e5 and try and neutralize that bishop. Okay, what are White's plans here? Okay, this pawn is attacked twice and defended 3 times, so he's free to move any one of these pieces. This bishop doesn't really have any squares except along this diagonal. The knight needs a home, so I think his plan here is somehow maybe to push the f-pawn, try and knock out my advanced e-pawn. Now that does carry the risk of weakening the dark squares around his king, so he's probably considering this carefully. And so my plan, I think, is knight h5, bishop e5. I still have not developed this bishop on c8, but it can't easily be developed. I really have to, for example, if I go here, this pawn is hanging, so I really have to do something about that bishop first. It has this square, but that doesn't seem to do a whole lot, and it can be kicked away there with the move g4. And that square is not available. Yeah. So I think I need to get rid of this bishop, and then maybe I can reroute this knight somewhere and push the pawn from b7 to b5 and put the knight on the bishop, put the bishop on b7. That might be a good square for it. Then bring this knight back, and I would have 3 pieces attacking that pawn. It's kind of a funny position when where the pawns have gone past each other in the center. Okay, time to make a move, White. Well, what else can we see here? Is there any deep calculation we can do? I think it's not too easy. There's not large complicated tactics going on. I don't see any big sacrifices. Okay, just putting the queen on a better square. I'm not sure what that is supporting. Maybe he wants to play F4. Maybe it's supporting F4. Anyway, let's try this idea I had of knight knight H5 and bishop to E5. I think that's what I want to try. Oh yeah, you know, that's what it supported the knight. So if I were to take that knight. Okay, so here we go. Now I have to decide. I think I want to take there, because if I do not take and just move my bishop here, he can push ahead with F4, and that would kind of cut down, stifle this diagonal. It would stifle his own bishop too, but if I take, it opens up a line on this pawn for my rook. And how's he going to take back? With the pawn or the knight? The knight. Okay, I could have taken back with the rook, I suppose, but the knight is a logical choice. Now, that kind of rules out this well, it doesn't rule it out, but it makes it less effective for me to play bishop there. Let's see, I have two pieces attacking this pawn. No, just one now. He's got two defenders, three defenders still, yeah. I can always get rid of a defender by pushing this pawn, I guess. That's one point. Okay, let's... that's right. I'll move my queen to the side, so I'm defending this pawn here. And I'm ganging up on his backwards e-pawn, which he's getting prepared to push. And now it is possible for me to reroute my knight, because I can go here without losing my d-pawn. Is that right? So my plan is knight to d4 to e5. Knight to d7. What am I talking about? Knight to d7 to e5. And then I can also think of playing b5 and bishop b7. I don't know if that's effective here. So knight there immediately, knight takes, bishop takes, is something I like. Although I'm a little bit worried about if he pushes that pawn first. What do I do? I know, I take his knight with check. If he pushes the pawn, I take his knight with check, and then I can retreat. But he didn't play that. He played this way, which I think is good for me, because I neutralize his bishop over here, which is a very annoying piece for me. And now this structure we've reached is very similar to a Benoni. And I can expand on the queen side. And target his backwards e-pawn. And White's plan in the Benoni is often to push through in the center, but he's lost his f-pawn in this case. So I think this is a good version of the Benoni for me. So if I just play b5 and c4, I kind of lock his bishop out of the game. I have to make sure my knight has a good retreat. And then after that, I need to find a way to get this bishop involved in the game. Actually, I could play bishop b7, and oh, the knight is there. So knight here, bishop there, knight takes, bishop takes, and he can't take back because I can grab his queen. So there's a pin on this pawn here. But I'd first have to play c5. So c5, bishop goes back, knight here, he does something, bishop here, he does something, then I can take there. So a long-range plan, but it's a plan, it's a plan. Oh, he's defended his queen, actually. That eliminates that plan. I do have the pawn move f5 as something to think about. But his queen is defended. Is there some way I can attack that? These light squares are covered. You don't have a good way to attack his queen. Let's see, how about the knight? Is the knight trappable? I think I'm just going to retreat my knight to this square, prepare f5, because I want to be able to take back with the knight or the bishop here. And maybe get my queen off of the e-file. If the rook were on the e-file, then this pawn would be pinned once again. Aha. Okay, so let's kill the bishop. And put my bishop over here. So now if I could just get my queen off the e-file, then I'd be threatening to win the d-pawn. The knight came back. So that was good. Good foresightful move there. But where is the knight going from that square? So let's retreat with the queen. So I get the queen to d7. I could think of playing f5 at that point. Maybe rook d8 would be more prudent. Rook d8, queen c7. That's an interesting idea. Yeah, just undermine that pawn. Try and liberate his bishop. Okay, let's defend it. No, I could play rook to rook to e5. Actually, I could play knight to f5 because this knight, this rook is, this pawn is pinned against this rook. Okay, let's see. What's he got? He's got a knight coming in here, maybe. If I attack his queen, that's going to take precedent. So knight here, he can't take with the pawn because I go there check, and he can't take with the rook. Well, I win the exchange in both those cases, and it looks good for me. So he moves the queen, and he could move the queen there. I could trade then I have to move my rook. It's a little bit annoying. So knight there, queen there. I don't have to trade. I could move my knight again. But what's the point of putting my knight there if I have to move it again? I could play pawn there. Let's do that. Pawn there. Now my opponent is starting to get low on time here. Okay, so he goes ahead with his plan. So I think he can grab the c-pawn. So I should move my rook so I don't lose the exchange. And then my plan is to take his e-pawn and try and win the d-pawn too. Might be a little difficult, but there's an exchange here. I might be able to surround that pawn. And I have a good square for my knight on. He takes with the bishop, okay. Yeah, that keeps the e-pawn defended. Keeps his d-pawn defended, rather. But unfortunately, he's just going to lose on time at this rate. Yeah, see, that's what happens. You get down on time. Don't have enough time to calculate all the consequences. You don't notice all the tricky moves your opponent has. This is a fork of those two pieces. So this just wins the queen.
Check.
Oh, okay. He gets two rooks for the
Check.
queen. Maybe that's good enough. Let's see. So it's a queen and 2 pieces versus a queen and 2 pieces. His knight is hanging. So if I attack his rook, he has no checks. He can attack my queen, but I can take his knight. So I think this move picks up a piece. Yeah, so this is nice. I'm going to set up this discovered attack against his king there. So, oh yeah, I'm just a whole... I have a queen for a rook, basically. He didn't have 2 rooks for a queen, just 1 rook
Check.
for a queen. And that's not nearly good enough. Yeah, you noticed that. Attack on the king, okay. Okay, I should probably try and win a pawn or 2 here somehow. Knight to here or there, attacking that pawn. If I can't just go for the king, yeah, let's just go for the pawn. This is okay, right? There. Have to defend the bishop. I'm still threatening this guy. Yeah, he keeps threatening things, so let's take here.
Check.
Yeah. It's okay to resign
White
anytime.
resigns.
All right, good game, and hope you guys
Incoming
enjoyed that.
challenge.
And I'm not going to respond to the challenge right now, but play them again maybe later sometime. So I'm going to follow this up with the usual postmortem, and see you guys later. Bye.